In our School Matters series, we're looking at how the pandemic has changed the college admissions process. About 600 schools, including Ivy League schools, did not require SAT or ACT scores in this year's applications. And as a result, the number of applications skyrocketed. Applications sent in through the Common App jumped 11% from the year before. And that app is now accepted by more than 900 schools. We are joined now by Jeff Selingo, who wrote Who Gets In and Why? A Year Inside College Admissions. Is published by Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, which is part of the wider Viacom CBS company. Jeff, good morning to you. I'm really excited to talk to you this morning because I remember sweating the SATs when I was in high school, and now colleges are not accepting it or not requiring it anyway. Could we be seeing the end of standardized testing as we know it?
Well, the head of the ACT basically said that we're not going back to standardized testing the way that we had it. So 600 schools went test optional. Most of them have extended it for another year, so for the high school class of 2022. But what we're seeing at many of the colleges that I talk to that are kind of new to the test optional movement is that even without test scores, they still basically accepted more students who came with test scores than those without. So if you're applying to a highly selective college, even without test scores, it still helps if you can get one and you did well on that test.
If you did well, it's always nice to show it. But if you didn't do well, I like that there's still a chance. You mentioned acceptance rates.
There's still a chance, yeah.
There's still a chance. Acceptance rates. Harvard has an all-time low acceptance rate this year of 3.4%. That is very thin. But you say that these colleges and universities should not necessarily be proud of those low rates. Why not?
No, I mean, Harvard rejected 55,000 students this year. They have a class of like 1,600 with a $42 billion endowment. They can easily expand. And in fact, over the last 30 years, the Ivy League as a whole only expanded by about 14%, their freshman class, while the number of high school graduates grew by 44%.
Wow.
So it's clear that what we learned in this past pandemic year is that not only can we perhaps do more online, but that we could change the calendar so that some students could go through the summer, some students could go through fall break or winter break. So these schools can easily serve more. In fact, we just saw Rice University announce 2 weeks ago that they're going to expand their freshman class by 20%. So these schools can do it.
There are hundreds of thousands of kids, I would say hundreds of thousands of families, because the whole family really is on tenterhooks because they're on a wait list right now. They do not know where they're going to be going in the fall, if anywhere. Is there anything that people can do when they're on a wait list to help their chances?
Well, the wait list is a bit of a misnomer because most of these colleges build the wait list into their enrollment model. So they're actually accepting fewer students and putting more of them on the wait list because they like to have students waiting in the wings. And that's especially this year with so many applications. Many of these schools don't really know how serious these students are. So if you're on the wait list, the odds of getting off of it, I must say, are pretty long. So, make sure you use that as your plan B. But, send a note to the school. If your counselor, if something has changed in your application, tell them what has changed, but don't resubmit an entire application, and definitely have a backup plan of a place that you actually got into that you want to go to.
Or maybe even trade school. It's still an option. All right, Jeff, thank you very much. No one knows more about the process than you. We appreciate it. You should check out the book, Who Gets In and Why? A Year Inside the College Admissions Process. We appreciate you being on.